You running
5:30
it
on the
tonight?
dot.
Yes,
Yep.
Lisa had a little accident in the gym today.
Oh, no.
She was doing CrossFit, and as Sarah described it to me, she was attempting to jump up on a raised box.
Oh, no.
And she didn't quite make it and landed on the box edge with her shins.
Very painful.
Yeah,
Huh.
it sounds like it's her body weight just on the edge of the box.
Must have
Usually
burned.
usually they're made out of plywood.
Yes, they are, yes.
Sounds painful.
Oh, yeah, they didn't look at, send me a picture.
I
Where's
think,
that?
yeah, I think you're good on time.
Okay.
That clock's wrong.
All right,
Yep. Okay.
it's 5:30 and call to order for the September 18th meeting of the Goochland Economic Development Authority. Can we have a roll call, please, Madam Secretary?
Ben Stallone,
Here.
Mark Smith,
Here.
Davey Smith,
Here?
Kurt Pittup.
Here.
Lisa Dearden is absent. You have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Okay. Citizens comment, please. No citizens other than, sorry?
I'm here.
Did you want to say something?
I did want to say something, more of a question. So I'm very thrilled that you guys picked up the working out the broadband and that instance. The one thing I wasn't sure about, I just want to make sure that we take a look at, I'm sure you have, but I haven't seen any documentation, is when we're giving the tax money back in the form of the rebates that were planned, one of the questions I had was, how are we going to ensure that those rebates are for people for revenues of people that have actually been hooked up? Because I've seen situations where companies will come in and they'll say, oh, we're in here, so give us the rebates, but it may be for hardware, and then there's a delay on hooking people up. So I hope that there's something in the language of the contract that talks about the revenues are from people that actually have the service and it's working. Thank you.
I cannot answer that question for you.
I can stumble through an
Can
answer,
you?
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Basically, the answer is the EDA doesn't get involved in that.
Okay.
It will be
Positive practice for mine. For whoever.
Because what we do is we handle the systematic transfer of monies, and we will approve a contract that is brought to us by the Board of Supervisors, but it's actually a negotiation that'll be done by the administration and then approved by the Board of Supervisors. All we will do is transfer the monies because of certain IRS regulations, and in particular Code of Virginia dealing with, I think it's 15.2. I can't tell you what paragraph within it because it's monstrous. But that is all we do in this case. But understand, and from the standpoint of what monies we did approve, those monies are, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but they're not really taxpayer dollars. They're more dollars that have come in from the bond issuances that we do. So it's not a direct taxable thing, but that's not going to be part of this, at least right now as it's set up. But the Board of Supervisors, and I don't know, I didn't
That's
mean.
about right. I mean, is there anything else from the agreement you can think of that?
I will get Mr. Badesky to respond in detail about how it all works, but basically it's CVAC, the county will be reimbursing tax revenue from CVAC for their investment on their lines. So they have to come in and build out the infrastructure. The infrastructure will be reviewed to make sure that it's working, and then they have to submit to the county, and then the county reviews it, and then the county says, EDA, here's the money, and then EDA, they have done what they're supposed to do, and then EDA gives them the money back to CVAC. So hopefully that clarifies, but we can get you more details.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I
Thanks.
don't believe there's anything specifically on hookups, people actually connecting to their infrastructure that they installed, but we'll back check that.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of minutes for last month's meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the minutes, and I will have a slight modification to the paragraph A, Ben Sloan's statement, and I will read it if you want to be bored by it. But, and I appreciate your patience, but unfortunately, I just listened to the thing recently.
Whatever you feel the best.
But the only thing was I modified it only slightly to say that we will be working through Tyler Technologies, and well, that's kind of the essence, and also that the look forward to the authority's new counsel opining on the issue also.
So you're saying you are going to be working with the county?
No, no, Mr. Chairman, actually, that we will not be, but that we will be working through Tyler Technologies.
Oh, and Tyler
It-
Technologies is who?
Tyler Technologies is the software, and I don't know if it's software as a service vendor or perpetual license vendor that's provides a Munis software ERP system to the county that was purchased under an RFP 2 years ago.
And it
year
was
a half
them
ago.
that asked you or to
The
work with them?
the county had actually asked
Okay,
us if, finance, and so because of the agreement
Yes.
that we're developing with Tyler, we've had a long-term non-disclosure and other agreements with them. We will not approach the county directly because of just the sensitivity of it. And so it's that modification that I would provide to.
Do you, I was gonna say, do you have a copy of that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Sloan.
I'll get that updated.
Further
Do I have a second on approval of minutes?
I'll second it.
Mr. Smith approves, second on approval of minutes for last month's meeting. Schedule matters, treasurer's, I'm sorry?
Just a vote.
The, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. All of those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No nays.
Thank you.
Moving on, treasurer's report, Mr. Smith.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I looked over the report. There's really only one item of note, I believe. That's the final payment from Licking Hole Creek on August 30th. That's showing up in your packet.
Right.
Nothing else earth-shattering. I really feel, I want to ask a question though. In the package that was sent out, there was something about the investment of funds and a maturity date. I got it from Lisa. I was confused by that. Did we miss the opportunity to put that money in the local government?
We actually have on 5D, time to discuss Licking Hole Creek. I mean,
I'm talking about the money that was in the long-term. I can't remember the name.
yeah,
Right,
I
so-
printed out a copy about the one that's maturing next week.
Yes. Oh, that you did. Okay.
Right,
So
so,
we're going to discuss that.
sure.
Okay,
yeah.
good. Because I was confused by that and I didn't know.
Right, Lisa sent this out about the, what is it, the Essex Bank?
Essex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Essex Bank, right. It says your time certificate, number 2068, will automatically renew on September 26, 2019.
Yeah.
With a new maturity date of 10/26/20. If you want to make any changes to the certificate, it must be done within 10 days after the due date. So I guess we have to wait till the 26th
Okay.
and then go there to withdraw it and close out that account.
Okay. Is that yeah?
That's my take.
Is that
Yes.
okay? I just want to bring that to attention because I gotta
And we would just need a vote from you guys to do that.
to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Which is consistent with what we had adopted as a board in the
Yes.
past,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
And the other one is another, well, it's another 6-7 months out, so
Right.
we'll,
Yeah.
we'll make that decision when we come to that one. That's a
Okay.
much smaller amount of money.
Okay.
But, can I ask a question? Do we know where we're gonna put it?
The
Local
LGIP.
government.
Right into the LGIP?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, any other questions on treasurer's report? Anything else to present?
No, sir.
Okay, so, make a motion to approve that we, not renew that certificate, but withdraw it after the due date, which is September 26th, and then, put that in another or current LGIP account.
Yes, sir.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All ayes. New business update.
So Sarah and I have 16 active projects right now that we are working. 11 of them are new businesses, 5 of them are existing who are working through either expansions or just need Sarah's help with a couple things. If we were to land all of them, it would be 168 new jobs and $129 million in investment. Wow.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure. So we have 16 active projects that we're working. 11 are new companies looking at our area, and 5 are existing. if we landed them all, so if we
Landed them
won the
all.
lottery and landed every single one of those projects, it'd be 168 new jobs and $129 million in
Okay.
investment.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I would like to point out the if.
Yes.
No, understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Some of those are state projects, so they are looking at the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. And then in terms of, we talk about VA Scan every month, which is the Building and Sites database. We have 45 current active properties, which is lower than last month. We had 8 of them come off the listing. Some of those people just decided to remove, and they're going to kind of hold on to. We actually did have a fair number of them actually are selling and turning over, and businesses are going into them. So, and then on the back side of that, we can see how many times properties in Goochland County have been viewed. And so in 2017, we had 78 views for the entire year. In 2018, it was 68, and so far this year, it's 430.
Wow.
So we're getting more views, which is good. We have more properties, yeah. So we're definitely getting more eyes and more attention.
Yeah.
Additionally, it's been twice in 2 weeks now. I've had other municipalities come up and ask me specifically what Sarah and I are doing social media wise,
Yeah.
because all they're seeing is us all over the place.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Congratulations.
We've been very purposeful in how we're reaching out, what we're doing, and what cases doing here, cases entering the properties that we have here in Goochland. You don't really think about it until, I mean, if you just drove down River Road through the courthouse, you'll see space for rent, space for rent,
Yeah.
space for, you know, these things that they become white noise from a driver's perspective, but things that we notice
Right.
and we're entering in these systems to let people know that we have stock. We do have some places that you can go.
That's
We don't have the big places just yet. We don't have the
Yeah.
100,000 square foot place that some people are looking for, Class A. We don't have that yet, but we've been very purposeful in our direction. So
Well,
it's
that's
really, the numbers are speaking
That's
for themselves.
fantastic news, and that's
Well-
a huge increase.
And we will get, in the next 2 months or so, the VEDP, which is the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. It's the state agency. They'll be finishing up their site characterization, so they are going through about 450 sites statewide and examining. They had to be over 25 acres, and they're examining all of them to see where they fall on their category or on their tier system. Meaning, you know, what could be tier 5 is ready for development in 12 months. So someone could come in and in 12 months they could have a building up on that piece of property.
Mhm.
Whereas 1 is you're at the very beginning of that process. It's not clear cut. You may not have utilities. You may not even have a road. And so a couple months back we went through and added every single piece of property that was in CoStar and all these other places in Goochland County into that system so that they would look at it and consider it. And so we'll find out in the next 2 months where those sites from Goochland County are classified tier-wise and what that pathway would look like to move it up the tier system and what that cost would be associated
Yeah.
with it. So
That would be telling.
yes, it will be. So
Interesting.
What,
that's all.
what proportion of queries and then, well, let's say interest, is West Creek versus the rest of the county?
In terms of the projects we have coming in,
Well, projects coming in, but also the queries that you're talking about that are, I mean, I would assume a lot of those are outside West Creek?
yeah, so we, in terms of the numbers of property views and things like that, it gives us an overview, but it doesn't break down all 430 in terms of it. So if you look at the past 9 months year to date, the majority of them are looking at West Creek. And West Creek is listed in the system as one property right now. And so we're hopefully looking to break that out too.
I see.
Because it's 3,500 acres. So if we can break that out into chunks of 400 acres, it might be a little more feasible and we might get some more eyes on it.
Got you,
So.
thank you.
Casey, I must have missed it, but to go from a tier to a tier to a tier is
Yep.
the readiness of that property? That's the only
Yes.
differentiation?
Yes, so whether
Okay.
it's clear cut, infrastructure, roads, zoning, yeah, it's just
Okay.
kind of, if it's pad ready, if they've already laid like a concrete
Okay.
slab, a layout, et cetera.
If you had a shell building there, you'd
Yeah,
have it.
it's kind of all the due diligence leading up to the actual building. So it basically cuts all the red tape and all the issues out of it.
Nice.
Yeah, tier 5 means you're zoned, you got
Yeah,
water,
you
you
got-
got sewer, everything's there, all you gotta do is go in and put your building in.
Cool.
Yep. So we'll find out in the next couple months and we'll bring that to y'all when we finally get
Good.
that.
Good stuff.
But that's it for new business.
Thank you, Casey. Sarah, existing business update.
Yes, sir. I wanted to let you all know that I've met with 10 businesses thus far. And so I was explaining to someone earlier today, the meeting itself might take an hour, but then coming out of the meeting and follow up and trying to address the concerns that I might have heard, or just making them know that we're still here, it drags on. So I've been working with 2 businesses specifically for like the last 2 weeks, on and off, just working through stuff. So it's really good communication with our businesses. I've heard things from workforce concerns. Our businesses are having a hard time finding and keeping workforce, anything from CDL drivers to engineering folks. They're just not enough people looking for jobs right now. And so I've been working with the Workforce Solutions team down in Richmond, trying to help match workers to our businesses. We've had one Verizon issue that I've been working through with. It's a Verizon landline issue. We've heard traffic or transportation issues, specifically at Broadband and West Creek area and Ashland Road. We've heard that there needs to be some intersection improvements made to both of those, 64 interchange at Ashland and then Broadband at West Creek Parkway. We also have had a new, one business that their lease is up in 1 year, so they're looking for new space. So I'm trying to help them out to keep them in the county. So those are the types of things that I'm hearing when I'm meeting with the businesses that we're trying to help them with. I attended a networking session at Lanier Industrial Park, so that was fun. I got to meet with lots of businesses that were back there. I mean, if you ever drive back there, it's hard to know there's several businesses in one building, and so I got to at least meet them and exchange business cards so I could start the process of getting involved with them. I have upcoming meetings at CarMax, Farm Bureau, and Luckstone. So those will be upcoming. And next week, I'm going to the Governor's Summit on Rural Prosperity. That's in Blacksburg. So I hope to hear some remarks from the governor and what the state is doing to help rural areas. And then both Casey and I will be attending the Virginia Economic Development Institute. It's a 2-day program. It's in Richmond. So that'll be next week. And then also Friday is Drive Shack ribbon cutting. You guys are all invited to that. It's 8:30 in the morning. However, the first 100 people there get an hour certificate to come back at a later time for free day play. So.
I responded, I wouldn't be able to make it, but
Yeah.
it turns out I don't have to go downtown on
Okay.
Friday, so I can make it. Do I need to send anything formally in on
No,
that?
no.
To show up?
Yep.
Okay,
I was there
thank you.
last Tuesday for the Media Blitz. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
neat
really curious.
facility,
It's really,
what they
really
have.
neat.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Um,
golf for adults, of course, but there's also kid games that they have where
Yeah.
you hit the ball and it hits monsters and things on the screen. It's just wild how they have it set up. There's a restaurant on the 2nd floor. They have 2 bars. They got a nice conference center. It's just really neat what they did. It's kind of amazing that's here in Goochland, so it'll be nice Friday morning for everyone to see it.
So that's this Friday at 8:30.
Okay.
And then this Friday from 4:30 to 6:30, Crown Roofing, they're in Oilville, they're having an open house. You guys are also invited to that. That's from 4:30 to 6:30, Crown Roofing. And then the Chamber of Commerce is holding their annual Business Expo. That's at the Boy Scout camp, and that's October 3rd. We're gonna have a table set up with some goodies and try to meet some businesses and things like that. But if you're interested in coming out to that, that would be October 3rd. It starts at like 5:30, something like that, at the Boy Scout camp off of Maidens. So lots going on.
You've been very busy. Thank you very much.
A real quick question is, are you planning also to go to the 10th Annual Virginia Economic Summit? Is that December 6th at the Richmond Convention Center?
Was
It's
not
on my list.
Is it?
He's looking
So,
for, he's
there's
looking
a
forward
lot-
to it.
yeah,
I was
there's
gonna say,
there's
we
so
could
many.
go to an economic development thing every week if we wanted to.
Hmm.
But we try to be more
There's one-
particular and.
Yeah, the Virginia Economic Developers Association, VEDA, is having their fall conference today, tomorrow, and Friday. Then you have the rural one Monday, Tuesday of next week, and then VIED is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. They picked like the same 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we're trying to be, we don't want to just go to them to go to them. So we look at the agenda and make sure that things are going to benefit Goochland County before we decide to go and do them. But we will definitely check it out.
Just as a note, it's the Virginia Chamber of Commerce, and it's on December 6th at the Richmond Convention Center.
Okay.
And it's sponsored by Dominion, Williams Mullins, and Wells Fargo.
Sounds like it's probably something we should attend.
It's joining, well, perspectives on Virginia's economic future and celebrating the CNBC ranking of Virginia's #1.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you. Moving on. Licking Creek Craft Brewery Loan Balloon Payment Forgiveness. So it seems like they've done the course of their payments back to Goochland County over how many years, Ben? 4 years?
I think it's been 4, yeah.
Yes.
And so they've written their last check, and then there was a balloon payment that was maybe we were gonna call due if,
Correct.
It was up to 10,000.
Yes, if they needed to meet 2 out of 3 categories, and they have met 2 out of those 3, so they had to have an investment of $100,000, and they had to double their workforce from 6 to 12, or they had to have done a sales tax increase, but they met their capital investment amount, and they also doubled their workforce.
that's fantastic. So we're going to forgive them that balloon payment. Does that mean we're gonna send them a written letter
Yes.
stating that?
Yes. And we would just need a motion vote to do that.
Do you need any more background on that?
How much was the payment?
The balloon payment was, I think,
So-
10.
The
Right.
final was 8,765.
Okay, great.
$8,765.75
That's what we forgave.
is what we're forgiving, yes.
Because they've met all their objectives.
Yes.
That was
How
part
many
of the
people
original
do
agreement.
work there? Oh.
So they had to increase from 6 to 12, they have 13. And that's based on Virginia Employment Commission reports. They have
Huh.
to report quarterly.
And it doesn't matter, is that full-time, part-time?
We did not specify in the agreement whether they were full-time or part-time, just an increased employment. So, I don't know the details of whether they're full.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with that. As far as I can tell, they have 3.
Full-time?
You haven't been there?
And probably, well, there's probably one down at the tasting room. I'm sure they're counting that as
Yes.
part of
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. And so it's, I mean, like I said, it's based on the reporting to the Virginia Employment Commission, which they're required to do quarterly, and I have those reports. So,
And if we didn't specify,
right.
we could in the future?
Sure, a lot of times performance agreements, like their, performance agreement that we have for their APHID grant specifies, full-time employment and a certain salary range. But I think this particular agreement was just increase the employment.
Have you surveilled that grant also, or the state?
The APHID grant?
APHID grant?
Yes, so I am tracking that. Their reporting period ends at the end of this month, and we are working with them to try to get the information that VDAX needs for that reporting period.
For Licking Hole,
For Licking
for their
Hole.
grant.
Yes.
And are we privy to that? Can we see that when you track
Yes,
the
mhm,
information?
sure.
I'd like to see that.
Sure.
Is that something you want to just send by email or anything, or at the next meeting, or?
That's fine. I'd like to review it, if I could.
No, I can email it to you or bring it next meeting.
Might as well copy everybody.
Sure.
On an email.
Mhm.
That's probably the easiest thing to do, right?
Makes sense.
So are all signs positive from this enterprise? I mean, do we,
I
For
believe
Licking
so.
Hall,
yeah.
as far as we know, yes.
Yeah, okay.
They've increased their production
Yeah.
greatly, didn't a couple
And I'm
years
not,
ago?
I'm not weaseling on the balloon payment. I just wanted to see
Sure.
whether it was a,
They are not currently on track to meet their AFID goals.
But as a company, was it in reference to the aphid or just as?
no,
a-
in general,
In general,
Yeah.
yeah, the company looks fine. They're just not on track to meet their
Okay.
AFID
She's-
requirements.
Ms. Pumphrey she's been jet setting, actually, I think today she's in Canada, and she's winning awards in England and different countries, so she's constantly marketing. I think there's a lot of marketing, she's doing a big campaign in Jamaica, so she's really getting the name out there to not just the United States, but to other countries as well. So as far as we know, it's been pretty well received. So. Sorry.
I'd love to see the report.
Yes.
And he wants to be on that marketing team.
No, no. She's, in my opinion, I think I think they have problems.
Do you? I know nothing about the enterprise. I've
So,
never been out there.
it'd be interesting to see. I don't see any way they can they meet the requirements for the grant.
Yeah, we have absolutely no issues with providing.
Yeah, let's look into that. It'd
providing
be
what we have,
interesting to
sure.
form an opinion.
And may we hold off further discussion until next meeting? Would that be a conflict with anything from a perspective of contractual matters?
The loan and the AFID grant have nothing to do with each other. They
Right.
were done
Oh,
at separate
understood.
times
Right.
and two
Absolutely.
separate agreements. So the loan performance agreement, it clearly states if you meet 2 out of the 3 categories, then this. But it would be up to you if you wanted to defer that.
So we're, by the terms of the contract, we're obligated.
By terms of contract, but there is not a date specified, if I recall, right? Or am I wrong? I thought the
Should've brought it.
yeah, I didn't bring the contract.
So-
It was October 1st,
So it's coming up quick.
right?
Okay. Again, that's based on the state reporting.
Yeah, I think it says October.
I have copies of the, loan agreement in my office right now. I can run and get them for you, if you wanna review that.
We've seen that before,
Mhm.
the dates, and
Yeah, I don't think we
they had
need to see
missed a
that.
couple, I think, a couple years ago.
Yeah, but they've always made them as
Right,
soon as
made
we
up, right.
notified them of their missing date. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're kind of obligated by the terms of the contract that they did what they said they were gonna do.
Yeah,
So we can
contractually.
review it, we can make our own opinion, but I'm not sure it really gonna affect.
Yeah, I don't know that you can, I think if they've met the agreement,
Right.
I don't think you can stop that.
Right, I don't either.
I think the grant's a different thing.
Correct, it is. Completely separate agreements.
Yes.
So,
And this was for predominantly the driveway.
correct.
So-
The EDA provided a loan so they could make upgrades to the road.
Right.
And so therefore, I'll make the motion that we do forgive the balloon payment in accordance with the contract for Licking Hole Creek Craft Brewery.
And can we also add language that, we enjoy, having your company here in Goochland and enjoy your business
Mhm.
with the county, look forward to working with you,
Yes.
something like that. Second,
Second.
D.B. Smith, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any?
Aye.
That's the last for abstentions or?
Aye. You
All
don't
in
have matter,
favor?
it's an aye.
I know.
What do you do on that?
Thank you. Last, review and discussion of legal counsel. Sarah, would you like to handle that?
Yes, so, since last month, I've reached out to 8 firms. I've heard back from 6 of them. What I would suggest that we do is to form, that you guys do, is to form a 2-member committee. That way it's not subject to FOIA laws and it doesn't have to be open public meeting where you can really get down and hash out, the rates and figure out which attorneys and what you think would serve the EDA best. And I have done some of that information already for you. And then have that committee report back to the EDA body as a whole to make a recommendation and then to vote on it. We think that that's the most fair way. We didn't really want to get into rates and attorney discussions in a public format. Just didn't
So
think
you
it was
submitted
fair.
an application to all of them?
I reached out
Standard
via,
application?
it was an email, and I
Okay.
said that the Economic Development Authority is seeking legal counsel, and if they would submit a proposal. So,
Did you suggest what they should propose on, or?
to represent the EDA, and that you guys were looking for specifics, on economic development, contracts, loans, and a lot of them have put in other information too,
Okay.
as they are promoting their firm.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't the consideration of a contract and, let's say, whether it be services or any other factor, non-foible anyway? So,
So, since this isn't necessarily a public procurement process, because it's an attorney, you don't have to go through the public procurement process.
Right.
A lot of that information is not, it could still, if someone FOIA'd us, we could get a review on whether we have to turn that information over, but we cannot go into closed session to discuss it.
We actually asked that very question to our county attorney, and she said, based on how the closed meeting paragraph is written, and it's not a technicality, she just said, this, based on this paragraph that we have in here, we can't, the authority cannot go into closed session to discuss those things. So sort of split the baby on this one is, we're talking about just having 2 volunteers from the authority look at the bids that came in, look at the proposals, basically forming a committee together to discuss the proposals, and then coming back to the EDA at the next meeting and discussing the findings and getting the input from the rest of the EDA.
Well,
And
we'll
staff
figure-
would be more than happy to also be with you and
We're
answer
happy to be
questions.
part of all that, and that's just our offer at the moment. That's kind of where we're thinking would be a nice middle ground. But if you have any other suggestions, we're happy to hear.
When did the email go out to those law firms?
2 went out today because I missed 2. That was my fault. The other 6 went out about a week after our last meeting.
So we wanna wait till we have them all in hand
Yes,
so we can compare
yes,
them?
yes.
So that'd probably be another 30 days.
I actually asked for them next week.
Huh.
So hopefully they'll have something to us those 2 will have something to us next Wednesday.
Right, the next
Yes,
couple weeks
yes,
after that.
yes.
So the soonest anybody could look at all that is probably first week in October?
Yes,
Yeah, that sounds
which would give you about 2 weeks.
Right, right.
I don't want to muddle this, but you know, in a state agency, having represented a state agency, we always had to get approval from the Attorney General's office for hiring any type of outside counsel. Is that, are localities under any requirement like that?
Not that I'm
No,
aware
it
of.
doesn't have
Okay.
to go through our
I would
board
think,
or
I would think they're
scripts.
not. I just wanted to, you know, again, not muddle things, but if anybody's,
It's just this authority.
yeah, okay.
That's all.
Yeah, the authority, as far as I understand, per the code, has the right to hire and fire, whether it be council, staff, or any other entities that we decide to hire. So I don't.
It
think-
sounds logical to me, so I don't know, you know.
Yeah, we're kind of a separate animal in a way.
Yeah.
Most other contracts that we do in the county do go by something similar to what you just mentioned.
Oh, really?
Our on-call engineering contracts come to mind. We do have separate committees that get together for that, and it goes through a procurement officer, it goes through the county attorney.
But the
it goes
authority
through the board.
status gives them maybe an independence from normal state processes.
Right.
I would think, so, yeah. It all sounds very logical, I just wanted to ask the question.
Yeah.
But in spite, I'd like to, we don't have counsel that we could argue with the county council, but, Mr. Chairman, based on that, I recommend the 2 gentlemen to my left as the members of the entity. Partially due to the
You're
fact that
volunteers.
I do have a horse in a race, so, and that's figuratively speaking, I'm not any way receive payment, et cetera, but just want to be out of it myself, and therefore I truly entrust these 2 gentlemen to do the right thing.
And Ms. Dearden also volunteered if someone else is not available or doesn't feel like they can take it on. She said she would also be willing to volunteer.
Discussion?
I have no problem doing it.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you,
that. Thanks,
Mark.
Either me, yeah, or it's either me or Lisa, right? Okay. I mean, I'll
You,
be
Lisa, or me?
I'll be glad to
You sure?
work, sure, yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
okay.
We just have to work out the logistics, you know.
So DB and Mark.
We can
Yeah.
Sure.
shoot you emails on
Right,
when
and
we.
we can hand deliver copies of everything to
Okay.
you, and like I said, I've already done a lot of the detailed kind of analysis on them, so.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And not that I would ever argue with county council either, she's.
I try not to either.
I think we might need a motion in a second
Okay.
to form a committee.
Motion to approve Mark Smith and DB Smith?
I will suggest that the chair can appoint a committee, a subcommittee,
Okay.
but, but if you want to formalize it, I will object.
Whichever is the best to do. I approve of Mark Smith and DB
All right,
Smith
sounds
to be on
Okay,
the
do the chair.
commission to look at the issue of legal counsel for the EDA.
Thank you.
And if
Moving on.
council comes back and says, no, you had to have a vote, I'll rescind.
All right. Other business.
I had a minor item if the authority.
Yes,
if
please.
Somebody else has anything. So I actually had a prep meeting with the schools this morning. We have a business/schools roundtable that they try to do twice every year. The last one, the first one actually that I went to was March of this year. It was very well attended by local businesses. We are tentatively setting a date for November 7th. We'll make sure that the authority is well aware of that date, so you guys can show up if you want. A lot of businesses show up, students are there from the schools, and we try to connect the schools to the businesses, sort of one of our functions as well, not just citizens to businesses. A lot of people don't think about schools being connected to the businesses, but that is a big thing for us. So I met with Dr. Raley, the superintendent for the schools this morning. We had a really nice meeting, a prep meeting for how we want the next meeting to go, and we're looking at November 7th. And I can tell you the March meeting was really good. It wasn't just well attended, it was standing room only from businesses, and there was probably 20 students that stood off to the side and watched all the businesses talking about who they are, what they do for the community. We had a little team building exercise for each table that the businesses sat at, and I don't know if you heard this, but it's amazing. After that meeting was over, one of the CTE students, career and technical education students, who had excellent experience from the schools on driving backhoes and dozers and things like that with how their system is set up. He got a job offer from a local business that paid in the low 60,000s.
Wow.
Yeah, so that happened from that meeting.
Wow.
So the schools is very engaged in that. We've become more engaged
That's
as well.
impressive.
So that was the first one I went to, and I was blown away by how well
What time of
attended
day
it was.
is that meeting?
It would probably be in the last one was in the morning. I believe it started around 8:30 in the morning. And Dr. Raley talks for a little bit. He will have a speaker. He's trying to get a speaker right now. At the March meeting, he had Dr. Pando with J. Sargent Reynolds. She was there, and she had and then I held the actual team building exercise. We just handed out Post-it notes to all the tables and said, what do you feel is your biggest struggle as a business owner in Goochland County? And we just left it to that. And they gave everyone 15-20 minutes to converse with each other. Not many businesses knew who each other were. And they mostly talked about workforce being an issue, trying to find the right talent for the positions that they have. But we're probably going to change the topic for the next one.
Got
But
it.
just wanted you to be well aware, because if it is November 7th, there's only one meeting between now and then. To let you know, it'd be the October meeting.
Thank you
So
very much.
I'll let you know when that date gets honed in on.
Thank you. Any other discussion, questions?
We are still on hold, correct, with regards to the land out that we hold?
At the business
We're
park.
gonna send
At
them a
the business
letter.
exits, yeah.
Yeah, so we were gonna address that in closed session.
Oh, sorry. Good.
We obviously have had a response.
Obviously.
So we will close our
Just-
monthly meeting.
Just need a motion to
Right.
read. Yep.
Motion to close.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
real quick, dress for this Friday, both business casual?
For Drive Shack.
Drive Shack and?
I don't think it really matters as much at Drive Shack. Business casual is perfect. And then the grand opening, ribbon cutting is about the
Business
same.
casual, yeah.
Business casual. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Surfer attire.
If you wear shorts, though,
Surfer attire.
I don't think
approved.
anyone would care if you showed your shorts.
Dude.
I was gonna wear my loudmouth golf
I
jacket all
know,
the
dude.
time.
There you
That
go.
would be
Okay,
appropriate.
motion to close this meeting
To
for
go-
the EDA.
Do we need to, I guess we need to read it?
Yes.
Yes. Closed meeting in accordance with the provisions of sections 2.2-3711 and 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia. I move that the Goochland County Economic Development Authority convene in closed meeting for the purpose of discussion of prospective business or industry for the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the businesses or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community as permitted by section 2.2-3711A1, and for the purpose of consideration of acquisition of real property for a public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the Economic Development Authority as permitted by section 2.2-37113 of the Code of Virginia.
Second.
Certification. Closed meeting.
Vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.